Hi there, Mama. Are you searching for another way to approach motherhood? One that puts your needs first? That allows you to live it all without guilt or holding back any of your amazing talents and unique gifts? Then the Live It All Mommy podcast is made for you. Each month, we are taking you behind the scenes, looking into the real world of motherhood, giving you a roadmap to unleash your unique potential, your passion, self-trust, and purpose as an amazing mother, deep soul, and powerful working woman. It's time to live it all, Mommy. Let's dive in. Do you want to know how to manage a demanding corporate job while being an amazing mom? Today, I'm most delighted to interview Mercy Ringelman-Manning, a powerful woman who is not only vice president responsible for sales and sustainability strategy at a big global corporation, but also the wonderful mom of 3 amazing young children. Mercy, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you, Pia, for including me.
No. Mercy, let me be honest. Every time I see you at school, our children go to the same school, the San Francisco Waldorf School. Every time I see you there, you look so full of energy and radiant power. And then you also have the time to and the energy to go on school camping trips with your kids. Before we share your story, what makes you get up in the morning? What gives you energy?
Mm. Well, I mean, I think I've just, one, I'm in alignment with what I really care about. So that's my kids. That's making sure that I'm doing good work in the world that I align with, both from a mission standpoint and also the people I work with. And that I've just cut out all the things that don't matter, and that I'm always trying to solve for things, but I can't solve for everything, and so I let go of the things that I've just, through the years, realized aren't the impactful, activities, and
Mhm.
so I it saves a lot more energy, for the things I do care about, and then also I spend my time doing things that re-energize me. So I've found a way to be inspired by, my work, which I feel is I'm very grateful for that. I know that's not everyone's
Mhm.
situation. So that re-energizes me. And then also, the my family and being as present as I am in their lives, despite my job,
Mhm.
that it's worth that hustle to be there. And
Mhm.
I get something back from that.
Mhm.
It's
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. What a um, wise decision to really focus on and also to have the ability to distinguish what is important for you and where you can just let go of things that aren't really nourishing and where you can't make any difference in the world, right?
and I've gotten better at that,
Mm.
right? I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's the one of the many benefits of maturing and having children that help you kind of get over yourself
Mhm.
in various ways. I mean, those are things that, you have when you're looking at your kid, then they're hungry, like, everything else kind of falls away, and
Mhm.
so that's I've just, been lucky to have 3 children that continue to help me, focus on the things that do matter, which is paying deep attention to them, putting my phone down, listening to the real question they're asking instead of just kind of, you know, uh,
Mhm.
glossing it over.
Mhm.
Um, so they are definitely I mean, this is said by so many people, they're your teachers, right? So they are good reminders that I need to focus in on what's happening in that moment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, tell us a little bit about your work life before and after you became a mom. Um, what were your biggest aha moments or mindset shifts? Because what you are saying sounds like your children are your greatest teachers. So, um,
what would you say did you learn, or what was it when you were working before
Oh,
you
yeah.
got a mom? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll just kind of do a quick I mean, lifelong athlete, very competitive, with kind of all things, but definitely on the athletic side. Went into kind of what a career that I thought would be really hard to get into. So kind of still that competition driving me. Um, Always knowing that, that was investment banking. I knew I didn't want to do that for a long time, but I wanted to prove that I could.
Mhm,
And but I also knew that I didn't want to, and no offense to anybody who's still in that industry, I didn't want to be I saw the toll that it was taking on the senior leaders,
mhm,
in the group I was with, and knew that wasn't what I ultimately wanted. I wanted to have a family I wanted to have a family. I wanted to have a
mhm,
family that liked me,
mhm,
that saw me, and, so through kind of some turn of events, I went to grad school, got into the technology startup world, in the Bay Area. And, first, it was still kind of the challenge of doing that was exciting to me, but, then my father actually suddenly passed, and that really pulled my life into focus of, like,
mhm,
"What am I doing? What am I working?" Even though I wasn't in banking anymore, I was still working 80 hours a week and
mhm,
traveling around the world and learning a lot, like, definitely like, really grateful for the opportunity, but, I wasn't in balance at all, and,
mhm. What were
um,
you doing at that time when you
I
weren't in?
was I was leading business development for a tech startup,
Mhm,
multiple rounds of VC funding, helping with that, doing technology integration, all the business integration with partnerships, go to market stuff. I mean, I was kind of had my hands in everything. It was great, great opportunity. Learned a lot,
mhm,
traveled around, the world, did business in Asia and Europe. And but really was like when that event happened in my family, just made me look at like, what is this technology that I'm spending, my life force energy on getting off the ground and expanding, et cetera. I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be in technology, this leads into kind of how I continue to make choices.
mhm,
Um, if I'm going to be in this, giving so much to myself, why not work for a technology, like help bring a technology to market that I actually really care about
mhm,
versus kind of this one it wasn't, it wasn't bad, but it was not anything that I would
mhm,
say I was super passionate about. And so that kind of led me to, and just through my network and actually with my sister making an introduction to a different technology startup that actually the outcome of that technology was significant energy savings
mhm,
for the built environment. So that means large commercial high rises,
mhm,
corporate campuses, just the built environment has a huge energy footprint and water footprint to keep
mhm,
these things going. And so I really took all the information or all the technology that I had been learning about and working on for at the last company, and even going back to my investment banking days, and took that knowledge and then applied it to this new startup that was, having a bigger energy impact. So I could, personally, I got aligned with that,
beautiful. Mm,
and so that actually, so kind of going to your question, that focus on, am I aligning with the outcome of this
mhm,
business? If this business is successful, which I have a knack for helping companies grow,
mhm,
on the revenue side and
mhm,
customer
mhm,
acquisition side, um, like, if I'm going to help this grow, is it worth growing? And is it worth me giving so much of myself? Because I
mhm,
tend to work a lot,
mhm,
um, and pour everything into it.
mhm,
And so that, yeah, that event with my dad passing just really
mhm,
pulled everything into focus. I moved companies. And then once I had my first kid, that focus kind of came, got even more in focus. What's the word for
mhm,
that? And I was like, well, and this is where this kind of little nerdy side of me comes out, where I was looking at my once Mason was born, my oldest, I was counting the hours that I was away from him and
mhm.
what was I doing with those hours. And
Ah, beautiful, yeah.
because I worked in this technology that you actually quantified the amount of energy we were saving as the technology was being adopted, I kind of turned that back on myself and I said, how much energy am I saving in this world every hour that I'm away from this child who I became very clear was really my priority. Um, and so that's kind of the math that was going in my head. And so then I was looking at the landscape of companies and I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to be away from my kids at all, I want to make sure that I'm always increasing my impact. And I realize that's a very, again, kind of I'm very lucky that I am able to make those choices and I was able to navigate to companies that allowed me to do that because, I know that that's not everyone's situation. But I would take it back to what impact are you making? And it doesn't have to, like for me, I was counting on how much energy I was saving, how much carbon, all that stuff. For other people, it's like, how many lives are you touching, right? Like whatever it is for you. And so that led me to my next company where I went to a technology that saves even more energy and has an even bigger impact than the one before that. And then that led me to the company I'm at now, where instead of going and kind of what we would do is like put a technology as an add-on, as a retrofit to these existing portfolios, I started working for Align, which is building the most energy and water efficient data centers available. And we're really the leader in that. And so I was really inspired by the founders and their vision. And I knew that I could help because I'm really good at taking that idea and then growing it and making it viable, commercially viable, et cetera, helping with that very important customer feedback in the early stages. So I kind of turned my attention to that company when my third child came. So just always that was the driver. So I don't know if
Beautiful,
that answered the
beautiful. Yeah.
question. But
Yeah, it does. And what I'm hearing is the name of our podcast is Live It All, Mommy. And what I'm hearing is that um, it is not necessarily possible to live it all um, from one moment to the next. But what you are describing so beautifully is that from each step um, that you took, you went further, closer to live it all and give it all. And that this is only possible if you are um, courageous and um, that you reflect every step and what you are doing and not just being in the system you are in, stuck with maybe fear to take the next step, but really to go further, um, helped you to come to a point where you obviously are very much living what you're passionate about and what's fulfilling, right?
and I mean, I grew up with two parents that they ran two companies together, small businesses, but with lots of employees and doing, very honest work in the world. And so I had that example
Mhm,
of
mhm,
seeing my parents. I
mhm,
always remember they said, we can sleep well at night.
mhm,
Like they have done good work.
yeah, yeah,
It wasn't glamorous, it wasn't fancy,
mhm,
but
mhm,
they were honest. They ran
beautiful.
honest
Yeah,
businesses
yeah,
and
yeah.
they made an opportunity for, hundreds of other families to support themselves and their children. And so that was something that was deeply ingrained in me. And I saw my mom working and I saw my dad working and
Mhm,
it was not always easy. But I learned so much from being part of those businesses, listening to them talk about it at the dinner table
mhm,
that for me, I didn't I knew that my mom wasn't always with me, but, we had so many touch points. We had family dinner every night.
mhm,
Now that's something that I'm trying to do, but with my current, my parents didn't travel. I travel a lot. And so that is something that does kind of, weigh on me that we don't have family dinner every night because I'm on the road, one night a week or two nights a week, depending. Uh, but I'm still, you know, I do my thing of making like dinner before I leave and keeping the fridge full so that I
mhm.
feel like I'm still connected to them
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
way.
Yeah, and that's a very important point because oftentimes when we are working and we are away from our children, we feel guilty that we can't spend that many moments with them, or even if we are with them, we if we are not fully present, then we feel guilty. And my experience is that it is most important that those moments we are with them, and even if it is just one moment per day, if we are fully present, that nourishes them deeply. And it's all about our awareness to be present. It's more one moment that we are really present than lots of moments where we are together, but we are not present.
Right.
Would you agree to
I
that?
100% agree. And I mean, that's part of why, when we're at home, we're really together, and, we've
Mhm,
made that choice to not have the media in our
mhm,
home,
mhm,
even though I work in tech,
mhm,
and all my customers are, you know, related to that world. Yeah, for us, it's like we're cooking together, or we're emptying the dishwasher
mhm,
together and talking about, whatever
mhm,
was happening at school that day, or, you know, they're playing, my daughters are always acting something out from
mhm,
school, or whatever. So I'm really, I 100% agree. And then, for me, what I've done is, and this again kind of goes back to my dad. He said this early to me, and I thankfully he saw this, kind of probably saw my trajectory before I did, but he just said, like, he probably saw my competitiveness and personality, and said, if he knew that I wanted to have a family. I was always drawn to children and taking care of kids. I had, nannied for so many different families growing up. Um, but he said if I really wanted to be able to have a really strong career, and also, be really present with my family, he thought that, me being on the kind of revenue side of a company where I could really have a potential chance at controlling my hours a little bit more, would be really important. And that was it put in my head, early on. And, that's really been what I've tried to do. It's like I do work a lot, but, my whole team knows there's like an hour and a half, between pickup and dinner, and that, like, it's not gonna be the best time to call me, right? Like, and they know that if they call me between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., yeah, I'll pick up, but there's gonna be 3 other kids in the background. They're gonna be contributing to the conversation, and that's how it's gonna be. And, like, we my
How
kids have
important to set boundaries, right?
oh,
And
it's
be
and,
very clear. Yeah.
I'm happy to pick up if
Mhm,
but I there's been that expectation set that,
mhm,
I have this other job that's just as important,
mhm,
which is getting my kids ready for school, and, having breakfast with them, and making their lunches with them, and all that. And that's what's happening. And, I'll pick up if I can, but if I
mhm.
can't, I
Yeah,
can't. And then
beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, and that brings us to the next question. So in my one-on-one coaching programs where I'm working with moms who either want to re-enter the workforce or try to find a better balance between work and family life, I very often hear that it is so hard for them really to stop checking work emails after working hours and to not be constantly available for their clients or colleagues. And you obviously are very clear with that. So you are not a person who is checking emails first thing in the morning or during the night.
well, I would say this. Before Okay, while I'm brushing my teeth, I look at my phone and I say, just to get a scan of, because I have a my company is spread across the country. So we've got folks that are
Yeah. Time
starting
change.
their day
Mhm,
much earlier.
mhm,
So I do take a quick scan to see, like, what is brewing,
mhm,
and if there's anything that needs a quick attention. And that's before I walk out and even see my kids. So
mhm,
then I kind of have that in the back of my head. Um, but I'm not, like, sitting there trying to make breakfast and do emails. Like,
mhm,
that's not
mhm,
happening.
mhm,
Um, when I'm and then when I do, I mean, I probably break this rule a little bit more than, most, but, I've kind of, figured out a way. And, again, the kids are now a little older, so this is way more possible. In
mhm,
the early, I mean, I just saw a mom the other night, was getting my daughter's hair. They're biracial, so I get their hair braided every
Mhm.
weeks. Anyway, but there was a mom that came in after they were kind of finishing up, and she just looked exhausted, and she had really young kids. She had like a 10-month-old and a 2-year-old. And she was just like, "I'm just so tired." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, you are really tired." And I remember that. And all I can tell you is that's this phase and it's
Mhm.
really, really hard. And I still remember how tired I was. So I think sugarcoating it doesn't help anybody. It's a, you know, but it does get to a point where now I'm able to take them to swimming and I'm allowed, tennis or gymnastics or
Mhm.
whatever it is, Little League. And there is this time while they are doing something that they're really enjoying that I am also, look, I'm there, but
You
for
can do
me, that
something.
I'm doing some
Yeah.
emails
Yeah.
and finishing up the
Yeah.
day so that when the day is over,
Yeah.
I'm with them.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Yeah, and that brings us to a very important question. How do you mentioned that at the beginning, that you are aware of doing some stuff that nourishes you. What are you doing exactly to nourish and to fill your cup to really, yeah, take care of yourself? Is this part of your daily life or just here and there when it's possible? How do you
It
handle that?
So it's gotten better. I've always known that I give a lot. I'm
Hmm.
very aware of how much I give, and, always joke I have wide shoulders, so I can carry a lot too. And I'm happy to do that, especially for other women in my lives that are going through harder times or whatever. Um, I am someone that has always been attracted to, like, preventative medicine and, uh, kind of more Eastern style, so, like, acupuncture, deep tissue massage. I just started going to see a Rolfer, which is
Hmm.
super intense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but then I also have always, because of the athletic background for me, physical, um, stress release comes through, like, physical doing of things, whether that's something, at the gym. I did start, with, and this was a total hack, because I love having my female community too. I work with mainly men and my whole life, and I've always had really strong female friends, moms, just deep, long-time friendships. And so there was a few of us that started, cold plunging in the bay.
Hmm.
And for me, I was like, "This is amazing. I've got my 10 minutes of or 20 minutes of friend time mixed with deep relaxation, physical release of the cold plunging, and, I can do it in between conference calls. Amazing." And they will all tell you that yes, I was on a conference call during one of those times where I couldn't quite, manage the time. But that's the other thing about, for me, being in sales and on this kind of customer side where, yeah, there's times where I just have no control. I have to fly here, there, wherever. But on the days that I'm not traveling, I can carve out these, like, 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. And I've gotten so much better at that, in the last few years now that I think the kids are a little older, and also because just where I'm at in my career, it's really me. Like, I could have done this earlier, and I should have done it earlier, and I guess I'd say to any of your clients that are younger, try to insert that self-care, that whatever it is to you that fills you up, insert that earlier, because I let that go for a few years, and that paired with the lack of sleep, it was tough, and I didn't feel great, and, that also lowers your energy even more, right? So, I've gotten a lot better at inserting that, and I try to do something every day. Um, if it's not every day, it's every other day, and I finally started bringing running shoes in my travel carry-on, which I
Beautiful.
hadn't done. I'm like,
Beautiful.
"Well, I'm not gonna go to the gym if I don't have my
Mhm.
stuff, so at least I bring it,
Mhm.
and it's halfway there of getting to the gym. And then I've even started, like, even if I only have 15 minutes, I will go walk on the treadmill or get on the bike and just do something,
Mhm.
before the full day starts when I'm on the road.
Mhm. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I mean, what I love, the beauty of running is you just need good shoes,
Right.
nothing else. You don't need the open hours of a gym, or you just go out whenever it's possible, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, beautiful. And So, what would you say is the number one advice for new moms who want to live it all? You were mentioning the self care already. What would you say is most important for you looking back at your life?
Um, I mean, I think the biggest thing is to listen to your intuition because when
Mhm,
you're a new mom, there's all these people that are telling you what to do, or how they did it, and some of it's helpful. I mean, I've learned a lot from folks, but there's also a whole industry of people writing books telling you that you should often do things that are against your intuition, and it's the newest way of whatever. It's this newest sleep training or this or that, and for me, I don't know if it was because I was too tired to take in any of that information, or if it's because I really, I had an amazing midwife that I did
mhm,
trust, and I had a very present mom who I trusted. Um, but beyond that, I didn't really look too far out,
mhm,
and I really just tried to, get clear with your intuition because I feel like that's the hardest thing. Like,
mhm,
I always tell people, I'm like, by the way, like it's usually when they're pregnant, I'm like, this is going to be the first time you've done something brand new for like years. Like the last time you did something brand new and had never tried it before was probably in grade school.
mhm,
Right. And now you're this adult person that's supposed to be like,
mhm,
knowing how to live life a little bit. And then you're thrown back into this point of like, everything is new. Every day with this baby is new. And it's really hard. And I think that there's kind of 2 things. One, it's just acknowledging that it's really hard and you're not gonna know what to do, but then that's where that intuition and connecting to that and just trying to listen and look at exactly what's in front of you with the baby versus all these people telling you all this stuff that may or may not be relevant, and also just kind of makes it noisy. That's really important, and then also just knowing that acknowledging it's really hard. Like, anybody that says it's not hard is lying,
mhm,
and that's the part or is not maybe, doesn't remember, because that's the other thing. You don't really remember all of the hard things, or else we wouldn't have more kids, and I've
mhm.
had 3,
Yeah,
and I would
yeah.
have more.
And you were working.
And I was working, and I wasn't sleeping, and I
Yeah.
exclusive breastfed, and I, pumped all around the world and
Yeah.
carried that I still know that sound of that Medela pump anywhere. I hear it, I'm like, "There's a
Incredible.
mom, someone go give her water."
Incredible. Yeah. Yeah.
So, anyway, I would say that and then, and then also ask for help. That's the other thing. I think I felt or some part of me feeling guilty
Mhm.
for saying, like, I needed help, and that's that's really hard.
So what I'm hearing are three big advices. So first, really to listen to your intuition. Second, to practice self-compassion, if I understand that right, really to notice that it is tiring and to allow yourself to be tired, to really recognize what you are actually doing. And third, to ask for help. Is that
Yeah, and also, like, I tell people this all the time, like, we're amazing. Like,
Mhm.
the fact that we did do this and that, um I mean obviously, humanity depends on us doing this really, really hard and valuable
Mhm.
work, which is being a mother.
Mhm.
And I'll say this because I'm very passionate about this topic. I don't want the word mother to get erased because it's
Mhm.
being erased right now. And it is the most disrespectful thing because what we do as mothers is 100% the hardest thing and also the most important. And in the end, if you do, you know, around the world, women support each other. I think we're a little bit more isolated in the,
Mhm.
in how the US kind of does things here. Um, but that support to an acknowledgement of how hard that phase is when the children are really young
Mhm.
is really important. And nourishing yourself. I mean,
Mhm.
a friend of mine has a bone broth company called Mama Tong. I mean, it's like all the original recipes were about
Mhm.
nourishing new mothers. And it's
Beautiful, beautiful.
so
Yeah. And
ask
send it.
for it. Bring me the bone broth,
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, if you send me the link, then I would like to share this with our listeners to nourish themselves in a better way.
Yeah. I will,
Mercy.
definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I could talk with you forever. It was really a pleasure to be with you and to learn from your passion and your wisdom. And thank you for encouraging all moms, including myself, to have the confidence and really to trust our intuition and our deep wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pia. Bye.
Mama, would you like to get more soothing self-care tools? Feeling warmly supported on your unique parenting journey? Getting advice for your struggles, questions, and self-doubts, while also connecting with moms that are in the same transition as you? Then head over to my webpage, beginningwell.com, and join my monthly parenting social club, a small online group coaching that allows you to open your heart and feel appreciated just as you are. Until next time, take the best care and don't forget to let your gift shine. You're amazing.